Hello and welcome to another edition of Retro Pickups for the Week. It's been kind of a light day for retro pickups, so I didn't get a whole bunch of stuff, but I didn't go empty-handed for the whole week. So here we go. First thing is a retro pickup that I got for free. Yeah, a neighbor messaged me and was like, "Hey, although you could demo N64 games at a hotel." So the neighbor was like, "Hey, I got this old game system. Do you want to have it?" And I was like, yeah. What game system is it?" Well, here it is. It's an old game system. You recognize that guy? The Atari 2600. Now, I actually do have an Atari 2600 already, but only had like 3 or 4 games for it. So he gave me a stack of games also, and I'll show you those in just a second. But what I wanted to show you is I knew there were multiple models of the Atari, but I didn't know how many there were. And so there's the original released Atari. There's a revision. There's the black one that they call the Vader, and then there's an Atari Junior. Okay, I didn't know about the first two. So apparently I have the second revision console here. I actually have 2 Ataris now. Here's the one I originally had. This I thought was the only version of the wood grain model, but there's 3 versions of the wood grain model. Do you see the difference here? So one of these, this one has 2 switches on each side of the cartridge slot. This one has 3 switches on each side of the cartridge slot. This one's also a little heavier. Now the missing switches on the 2-switch one actually are made up for on the back. If you look at the back, I don't know if you can see that very well. I'm doing a terrible job at this. These are kind of heavy. But this one has extra switches in the back that this one doesn't have. So the extra switches on the front were just moved to the back. So anyway, yeah, I got 2 of them now. So I don't have the original. I have the second revision. Well, I guess it's the first revision. The second released Atari. The first revision. I don't have the original. So anyway, let's see the games that I got. Alright. So in no particular order. Well, actually, one of these I'll save for last because it's definitely the best one. Anyway. Pac-Man. 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 Asteroids. Superman. Basketball. Space Invaders. Video chess, which I'm betting is pretty terrible. So this is kind of cool. Video Olympics, with a list of games that include Pong, Super Pong, Soccer, Foospong, Hockey, Quadrapong, Handball, Volleyball, and Basketball. Okay, and one of my all-time favorite Atari games. Yes. Can you read that? It says Combat. If you guys haven't played Combat for Atari, Combat is very awesome. Okay, and the best one of them all, yeah, Atari Pac-Man generic effects game. I say generic sound effects because they use the sound from that game as a means for anyone playing game. Oh yeah, you're right. It's always Atari Pac-Man. You're right about that. The best, well, not the best, but the most notorious Atari game. I'm so happy to have this. E.T., the extraterrestrial. Now, we all know the story behind E.T., don't we? There's a landfill of E.T. cartridges. The game was so bad and so poorly received that it caused the video game crash of the 1980s. And the video game market almost died completely because of Atari ET. Okay, so that's all the Atari stuff I got. There's one more retro pickup that I managed to score. Hey, found the landfill a couple of years ago. Yeah, I know they did because there was a whole documentary about it. You have ET also, Corpix? That's an artifact right there. Yeah, I know. It's pretty cool to have it. I'm really glad that I have ET, and he just happened to have this in his garage. Okay, moving on. The last retro pickup to show off is another reproduction game from AliExpress. This time it's dun 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 dun. Conker's Bad Fur Day. Now, we all know the reason why reproduction copies are frowned upon. It's because, one, they potentially decrease the value of actual games, but two, reproduction copies are not always the best quality, and here's an example of that. This game only boots up about 20% of the time, and once it does boot up, it locks up at the right before the title screen should appear. It never actually gets there. So yeah, I've not got this game to boot. So yeah, that sucks. I contacted the seller. I'm asking for a refund or a replacement. So hopefully I can get another one of these that works. Or a refund. Now, the shell, there's some value to the shell. I can put a different game in the shell, but you know what you can also do, and I probably will do this. Do I have any? I don't think I have. I thought I had a Japanese Nintendo 64 game, but maybe I don't. I swear I have one. I don't know. But the difference between a Japanese and a Nintendo 64 game cartridge, the reason why they're interchangeable, the way they region lock them, is by these notches. These notches are in a different spot on a Japanese N64 cart. But if I wanted to buy a Japanese Nintendo 64 game and play it in my Nintendo 64, what I could do is just take the back shell off of the reproduction I have here and put it on the back of the Japanese Nintendo 64 cart. That way it fits in the US Nintendo 64. So even though this cart is broken, I can still use the parts of it to region change Japanese Nintendo 64 games into one that fits my Nintendo 64. So, yeah. Man, I swear I had a Japanese Nintendo 64 game. I thought I did, but I can't. I don't know which one it is. I must be imagining that, because I don't have any recollection. I seem to remember having one, but I have no memory of which game that was. Oh well, that's Retro Pickups for the week. Like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. This is going up on YouTube. And yeah, do some interactions and it helps my channel. Thanks, guys.